Hi, my name is Cantor Fishbein, and I'm the cantor at Temple B'nai Jeshurun in Short Hills. This week we read Parshat Tazria, which is a difficult chapter in the middle of the book of Leviticus, one that addresses the idea of ritual impurity. At the end of the parsha, we learn about tzara'at, which is a skin condition that renders its victims, among other things, ritually impure. It becomes clear that the proclamation of unclean or impure was seen as a medical diagnosis in their day. And one of the ways in which healing from this is described was by separating the person from the community. The afflicted person is instructed to go outside the camp and remain there for a prescribed period of time. There was no privacy, no way to suffer in silence. A diagnosis of tzara'at was accompanied by a new reality, both physical and spiritual. Without advanced medical care, a diagnosis like this could put the entire community at risk. So we might think of isolation of the afflicted less as a punishment and more as an act of quarantine, something I think we all understand after everything we've lived through the last few years. The intention was not to banish someone from the community because they were momentarily tameh or impure. On the contrary, the text actually describes in detail how the person can and should be reintegrated and reconnected with their community once their illness has been treated. Asking for help and allowing oneself to be vulnerable can be deeply daunting. Not only do we have to admit to ourselves the loss of control over our own physical reality, but we also have to confront how to share this with those we love. We might ask ourselves how this will change our relationships, if it might make us seem weak, and if it will cause distance between those we love and ourselves. Today, we pray the words of Misha Berach and ask God not only for a refuat haguf, a healing of the body, but also refuat hanefesh, a healing of the soul. Perhaps God will take the form of a kind stranger who flashes you a smile on a particularly difficult day, or a child who runs up to you and gives you a hug at the exact moment you need it. Or maybe God shows up in the form of a wonderful doctor or nurse who helps you navigate the course of treatment without feeling lost or alone. For each of us, our relationship with God is deeply personal, but God can show up in many forms throughout each and every one of our lives. So perhaps what is at the root of this parsha is that by allowing ourselves to engage in relationship with one another, we are in fact in relationship with God. When we pray for healing, whether it's accompanied by a cure or not, we invite God's presence into our midst and allow ourselves to be vulnerable not only to God, but to each other as well. In our lifetime, we will all have the opportunity, for better or for worse, to be both caretakers and taken care of. And it's upon us to treat everyone around us, and even ourselves, with the compassion and care that we might treat someone if we were looking into the eyes of the divine.